Joe Orth and I are starting a podcast. What should we call it?
Hey, don't pick on me. You know why? Because this is why. Let's see what he says.
The Joe Show?
Give Joe the business?
That's right.
Cup of Joe.
Cup of Joe.
What is happening here?
Would you listen?
We'll give you a chance.
Thank you. That's Joe.
That's Rooster.
And this is the Together We Shall podcast, episode 11. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. Not much. Another day in the life of two podcasters. Had a chance to get out this morning, though, with our ambassadorship here in Wilmington for it's a Special Olympics of North Carolina law enforcement torch run. Got it. Which was really cool. So had a handful of riders out there along with just a ton of law enforcement professionals. I actually started my morning in the back of a police car, but I volunteered for that because they transported you as it's a point-to-point race. So you park at the finish, and then they transported everyone in either police vehicles if there was like one or two just waiting to go, or they had like a bus shuttle. But I was like, I'll get in the car. And then as soon as the door shut and I realized I can't get out without someone opening the door, I may have made a mistake. But we went to the start line, and it was awesome. 5.5 miles right up Route 17 here in town, and it was really cool. Stayed in one lane of 17, and like folks would slow down to pass us and honking, and people handing out donations out of their window, guidons. I got to carry the little torch for a little bit. That was neat. I've never ran with fire before, but I felt a little bit like I was treasure hunting or something, with a flame looking for my way. But it's 7 in the morning and bright and sunny. So that was cool. I was excited to get out there and see all the folks. It's been a while since I've raced locally. And then went to the pool with the fam for a little bit, and here we are. Yourself?
A little bit of travel. Went up to Pennsylvania, part of a leadership summit with our partners at the Travis Manion Foundation, and got a chance to really put a lot of energy into mindfulness. And it was cool, man, because a chance to, I guess, take a knee, as I say sometimes, and really just reflect upon the journey and, the future journey and where you are now. The biggest thing that I've kind of learned in my short time is how important it is to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. And for me, when I get a chance to go do these things with our partners, it gives me a chance to do exactly that. Take care of myself so that I can come back to the community and just continue to try to be the brightest light that I could be. So I got a chance to do that, and it was awesome. And I'm filled back up, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the rest of May because there's a lot of cool things happening for us. We just finished the Yellow Stairway. Got to take a minute, dude. Shout out to Amanda. I mean, what happened this past week.
Yeah, Amanda and the race series staff, with Laura and Tracy. It was a interesting 48 hours to say the least, but the three of them crushed it, and the race went on. So
everybody's like, what are they talking about? Dude, literally 48 to 72, 96 hours before the race, we had to change venues, completely change locations, which is a big task. Just think about putting on an event and you're 96 hours out, and then you're told, hey, by the way, this venue isn't going to work for your execution, and you don't have a backup plan. Well, Amanda found a backup plan. The team came together, and bravo. But it's that type of thing that and I'm tying back to, you asked me what I'm up to. If you're not in the right headspace, if you're not in the right spot in your life to be able to, if you're not there, you're not going to be able to do something what that team did, because it takes perseverance and focus, and the ability to kind of connect all the dots is made possible by you being in the right space. So you asked me what I'm up to, and my answer is that I'm in a good spot and refilled back up. But anyway,
did you also go do your character doesn't matter to the Marines?
I did, man. Thanks for asking about that. So, for those that aren't aware, I get a chance to go talk to Marines who just finished boot camp and are about to become intelligence specialists and go out and have a career in the Marine Corps. But go talk to them about character. And this particular session was special because Lori got to come with me and see what that's about. And my sister was in town too. So in the back of the room was my sister and a bunch of Marines from the local area that are also trying to learn how to go forth and do this. And then Lori sat right up in the front and watched the session. But when the session was over, one of the things we talk about in this character conversation is our lesser used character strengths. There's a survey that's done by the Values in Action Institute, and it'll tell you your top 24 character strengths. And if you ever want to do that, just hit us up, podcast@ainsleynews.org. We'll send you the link. But it racks and stacks where you are with each of your strengths and how you use those strengths. And typically speaking, for a group of 18 to 22-year-old Marines, appreciation of beauty is not in the top of their list. And so after the session was ended, we went out to a Missile Hill, which, Joe, you know exactly where that is. And I had them turn around and look out into the Atlantic Ocean. And until they were ready to turn back around, meaning putting their back to the ocean and come back to where I was, they had all the time that they needed. So until you're ready, I want you to focus on the beauty that's before you. We had some Marines that stayed focused on the ocean for like 20 minutes. And that ties right into this idea about mental health awareness and taking the time to think for yourself and to reflect on your own journey. And I encourage them to think of someone who has inspired them or someone who it means a lot to them. And there was a lot of emotion. I mean, there was a lot of emotion. Like 18 to 22-year-old United States Marines who are at the pinnacle of their physical prowess and they're ready to crush things and do America's work. They're not going to take time to like cry. When Joe and I were 18 to 22, nobody was asking us to do that. And to see them actually immerse themselves in that, it led me to conclude these dudes are ready, like because they took some time to think about themselves. So anyway, man, you know I could keep talking about that for a long, long time, but I thank you for allowing me the extra time to talk about that.
Yeah, and I saw that picture, which was neat. You and Lori looking, and then the handful of Marines, right? And you talk about like how I know that hill. Yeah, I've been promoted twice on that hill. Once, actually, I got promoted once at the bottom of the hill in 2004, and then re-enlisted at the top of the hill with you back in 12, when 10 years ago, type of thing. So yeah, that hill is definitely special to, I think, anyone that's gone through training at that facility. It's just something that's neat about it. Working in there, I used to love just getting outside, windowless building and just walking up the hill, even just walk up, turn around. Oh, yep, ocean's still there, I guess, but come back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So maybe that's a challenge to everybody as they go into the month of May, is to take some time to go appreciate beauty somewhere. Find a spot in your community, in your city, in your local area, whether it's to watch the sunrise over the ocean or over a lake, or maybe there's a high point or even a spot, a lower point down by like an ocean bed or somewhere, and just go there just for 15 minutes and just feel it. So. Okay, where are we at right now? Whoa. Let's jump into this episode. Let's jump into this episode. It's weird when Rooster gets some time to go reflect, and then suddenly, Joe jumps on board with it. It's like we could probably do a whole podcast about mindfulness and reflection right now. And maybe that's where this takes us. We have a really, really fun episode, I think, with Bill Johncock. For those of you that don't know Bill, he has a son, actually has 3 children and his wife, and he's been a pretty important kind of staple in recent things that we've been doing with the Ainsley Angels family. He and his son Logan had a chance to recently complete the Boston Marathon, and do so not only to represent each other, but the entire Ainsley Angels family. So we'd love to hear a little bit about that. But the other thing that's cool about Bill is Joe, he's a foot doctor. We've never done. We have a foot doctor on the show, and the funny thing is, a lot of times people are like, "Hey, I run a lot, and it's bad for your knees," says somebody to the person who runs a lot, and they're like, "No, it's bad for your feet." And so I'm really curious to see what the foot doctor says. But without further ado, Bill, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys having me here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for taking the invitation. So, like, tell everybody, who are you? We already know your name. Where are you? And like, what's happening right now, where you are, and what makes you excited about the chat we're about to have?
Yeah. Well, I'm Logan's dad. Logan and I, we do a lot of Ainsley's Angels events together. Yes, I am a foot doctor or podiatrist. I'm here in Hickory, North Carolina. Originally from Michigan, so really appreciate being out of that cold weather, out of there. We've been here 28 years. We love to run, and that's one of the things that we've done for years together. I do have three great kids, and Logan is my middle child. He has something that's called Angelman Syndrome, which is a chromosomal abnormality. So chromosome number 15 is missing part of the chromosome. So he's a very happy child. He's got an amazing smile. He can't talk, but he definitely can communicate. He signs a few words. He signs cheeseburgers really well. He doesn't sign broccoli very well, but he just loves spending time with his dad, and I love spending time with him. So that's a little bit about us.
What's the how does he symbol cheeseburger like?
Cheeseburger, yeah. Cheeseburger. Well, he usually is doing this number, so we know that's cheeseburger. We went out for our long run on Saturday morning, which is what we usually do, and he loves running with me. But part of that is we usually go to McDonald's afterwards, and for Logan, there's nothing better in this world than a McDonald's cheeseburger. So he's all over it, and he finished his own Big Mac today and fries, and then delved into my fries too. And so, and he's a little guy, but when it comes to Mickey D's, he's going to put it away, baby. So
I agree. I mean, the McDouble is just a basic cheeseburger that is delicious. That I had they had McDonald's after the torch run today, so I had breakfast sausage, egg, and cheese, which was exciting. That was a nice surprise, when you're done running, that food is provided. So I share the love for McDonald's as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to say, this podcast is not sponsored by McDonald's. And then Joe says, and it's also not sponsored by Miller Lite
yet.
Yeah.
But we would be like ridiculously if we didn't take this opportunity, these three men, to all go and say, ladies and gentlemen, it's Miller time. It's that special part of the show. As Bill holds up, for those of you that can't see, Bill's holding up a McCafe drink from McDonald's. But anyway, this is that special part of the show where we invite you and anyone that can hear our voices with you to join us in your favorite beverage. If you are tube fed, we ask you to also join us. Fill it up. Let's go. Whatever it takes. Let's sit back because it's Miller time. All right. So with that said, Anheuser-Busch and Miller is a tap Coors company, and McDonald's. None of those people are our sponsors
yet.
Yeah.
Okay. We're open to the conversation. If any of you companies are listening, or anyone that would like to be a sponsor of the podcast for that matter, we are all about inclusion, right? So email podcast at Ainsley'sAngels.org and help us expand the podcast.
This is some shameless stuff, y'all.
I think, I'll be running a race. I'll be looking like a NASCAR dude with all the different logos on him. And I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Why not, right? I'm sure we can figure out a way to tactfully put this all on there. So, your long run, how long was it?
Well, this week it was a little bit shorter than usual. We were supposed to do 16. We ended up doing a little over 12. Brewster knows about this. I've had issues with running chairs before, but one of my tires on the running chair went out about 2 miles into our run. So I was like a mile and a half from my office, but happened to be at my office. I've got another running chair. So I had to switch out the one chair. I had to walk a mile and a half with just two wheels to get us there, get the new running chair. And so we got in the rest of our run to go there. But I think part of the problem is we do a lot of runs on um, sidewalks, and we go up and down the sidewalks, and I just don't think the wheels hold up so good there. So it's just part of it, but we make the best of what we got to do. But yeah,
It's
12 miles.
it sounds like you actually did some good planning. You knew your route. You knew where it's like know where the water stations are, know where the bathrooms are, know where that spare chair is. So
Yeah.
route recon. I like.
I wasn't a Marine, but hey, yeah, you got to be prepared, baby.
Are you guys currently training for something, or that's just it's set on Saturdays we run long?
Yeah, well, our next big run is going to be the Chicago Marathon in October. So we're doing that October 9th. And but we're doing some shorter races, and we got a half mile or a half marathon in about a month here that we're doing. So
So I think we need to go like to the beginning of your running career, right? It's been you've been running like I don't want to say competitively, but competitively essentially longer than I've been alive.
yeah.
Oh wow, that didn't take long. Boom.
So yes, I am old. Yeah, I've been running since I was 13, and I'm 57 now. I started running, and actually, my father started running after I did. So there was an local 8 mile race, and I did that one year and ran it with two of my brothers. And I actually beat my next older brother, who was an all-state tailback that day, and I had never beaten him in anything in my life. And he was all-state tailback, homecoming king, valedictorian. He was just like the golden boy. But that one day I beat him in the 8 mile race, and I said, well, maybe I can be good at something. And then my father started the next year, and he ran with me. And then my dad, I'm one of five boys. My dad and I kind of had a special connection that way. And so a year after he started, he decided to do a marathon. So I did a marathon with him. He tried to convince me not to do it because he thought I was too young at 15 years of age. But he kept putting these things out there. He said, well, you can't do this unless you can run 20 miles in under 3 hours. And so I'm like, well, okay, well, there we go. And so I ran it, and I got my time down so I could run 20 miles in 3 hours. He's like, well, I guess I told you you could do that. Then I've got to allow you to do it. So, I guess when you're one of five boys, you're always trying to get dad's attention, and, I wasn't all state tailback, and I wasn't valedictorian. But that was the one thing that I had, and I loved to do with my dad. And my dad ended up, he's an amazing runner. He's now 94. He still runs a little bit. He says, I don't really run, I trot a little bit, but he mostly walks. But he ran really consistently until he was 90 years old. He has several national age group records in the 70s and 80s, and just a great example for me. But it's also just not just that he was fast, but just we had that connection. And what dad doesn't want to have that connection with his son? And then when I was 19 years old, we did the Boston Marathon together. He was 55 at that time, so we did our first Boston, our first Boston. I was 19, he was 55, so we shared that special experience. And then you kind of fast forward that to me having kids, and same thing with me with my kids. I want to have something that I experienced with them. And, my oldest son, he did run some. And so I did some running with him, but he loved basketball. So we did the basketball thing. And then I have a daughter, and she's very artistic, and so I'm not very artistic, but trying to have that special experience with her. But with Logan, I did some running with my oldest son before Logan came along. He's my middle child. But Logan, he just lit up in a different way when we did the running, when I was pushing him. It was just really incredible. And so that's what connected us. So I guess me having that connection with my father, and then I having that connection with Logan in the special way.
Yeah, that's definitely neat. Like, the three generations essentially of runners being able to share that connection for sure. Has your dad been able to trot with Logan?
Yeah, we actually when my dad was 85, my oldest son decided he wanted to run a marathon with his grandfather. So we all ran. I ran. I pushed Logan. My grandfather or my dad ran, and then my oldest son ran, and my brother ran. My brother's 2 years younger than I am, and his daughter ran. So we all ran the same marathon together up in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
And you said, I'm not sure I heard that, when your dad was 85, he ran a marathon.
85 years old.
Wow, man. Wow, that's impressive. That's wow. Okay, well, now I know that that's in the realm of possible. So thanks for setting that example.
I feel like I got to go run again. Like, what have I done today? 80. Man, that's good.
I have not run today. In fact, I didn't run yesterday either. And now I'm like, thanks for the inspiration. I think I am going to. Which that's the essence of really that together we shall mindset, is that you can inspire, but then at the same time you can be inspired, and it's like this cyclical thing. So I mean, that's a kind of a good opportunity to jump into what we usually call our let's dance section of the podcast, where we try to let's go a little bit deeper on what you just explained. Like, you and your dad shared that bond, and then which you would have never found had you not taken the leap to say, you know what, I'm going to go do this run. And even if the valedictorian track star, golden child is out there, he may beat me or he may not, but I'm just going to go take a chance. I'm going to take the leap. And Christy Cormier talked about that, just taking the leap. At what point did you say, well, Logan has Angelman syndrome, but like that shouldn't stop him from running? Like, how did that happen? How did that first time you and your son went to run, how did that become reality? Can you take us back to that time?
Yeah, I mean, I started really young with Logan, pushing him. He was less than a year old the first time that we did it. And, but I noticed him starting to love it more when he was around 5 years of age. And part of what inspired us to do more was when he was 7 years old. It was 2005, and I went to Boston to run the marathon. And I met Rick and Dick Hoyt there, and I talked to them, and it was interesting because I was talking to Rick. So Dick is the father of the two, and he was kind of talking to some of the media folks and so forth there. And I communicated with Rick. I said, well, I have a special needs son. He's 7 years old. But I'm just so inspired by you and your dad. I said, I'd love to run with Logan someday at Boston. And he said, you've got to do it, man. And he had a communicator with him. And so, Rick is nonverbal too, but he has a communication device that he uses. And so that day with Rick and Dick Hoyt really kind of set a trajectory for us to want to do that. And then later on, not to diverge too much, but later on, it was when we started running with Ainsley's Angels that I realized, I think just the same way Rick and Dick did some amazing things together, but they did it alone, father and son, that we joined the Ainsley's Angels because there really wasn't one here. And so we joined them as part of, hey, yeah, we're just kind of doing our own thing. But they brought Ainsley's Angels to the Catawba Valley here in the Hickory, North Carolina area. And Tony Mullen and his wife, Teresa. And that's when we really joined. And so it wasn't just the Bill and Logan show anymore. It was part of this family of folks that were seeing that same joy that Logan had, that I saw in other people's faces. And that really set us to another trajectory of even being higher than we were before. So it's just one step after another that we've been blessed to be part of on our adventure together.
And that is the inspired, be inspired loop. And that is Together We Shall. And I loved hearing that the details of your encounter, not with Dick Hoyt, but with Rick Hoyt. And I'm getting chills as I can remember conversations I've had with Rick Hoyt and watching how he uses his communication device and his way to work through the alphabet with his communicator, which is a whole book about it called One Letter at a Time, which, again, I don't want to go down that road too far, but I could do a whole podcast on my journeys learning from Rick and from Dick. And so by their actions, they inspired. And then you were allowing yourself to be inspired. And then you and Logan went and did all these runs from 2005 until you found the Ainsley's Angels family. And then you were inspired again to join that family. And now through your actions, you and your son are an inspiration to everybody that meets you. And the key is, how do you maintain a level of humility to say, yes, I know I'm an inspiration? How do you do that? Because you know what I mean? Like, you got to be humble. You are humble. But how can you still have the ability to say, I'm an inspiration, and be okay with that?
Well, I think it's never about me. And so, I have a lot of people that say, well, you're inspirational. I'm just a dad that loves his son. So, and it's like you loving Ainsley. You didn't go out there to become Ainsley's Angels president. You loved your daughter. And out of that love for Ainsley, and then you seeing that joy that Ainsley had, that inspires you to see that in other people. So, is it, oh yeah, Rooster is, and you're an awesome guy. I mean, I don't mean to do that, but you're a great guy, but you love other people, and it's just out of that overflow of your love for your daughter, and then for other people to try to do that. So I mean, I think that's, for me, it's just like, hey, I'm just a dad that loves his son, that wants to see him enjoy life as much as he can, because my son is not going to physically be able to run a race. My son is not going to be able to play in a basketball game. My son is not going to be an artist like my daughter, but my son can enjoy riding with me and doing the Boston Marathon and doing what we love together. So, the whatever I experience out of that in humility is just, it's just an overflow of my love for my son, like any parent does for their child, I think.
The power of love in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I mean, like the power of love, the smile, it's contagious, like both of you have mentioned the smile of your children when you push them, and the tornado of the inspired, be inspired, how it's just like, it just keeps grabbing things, you know what I mean? Like grabbing people, it is a cycle, but it's like one of those like intertwined, you know what I mean? Just keeps picking up folks along the way. It's definitely, that's how the podcast kind of happened, right? Inspired, be inspired, and now we got guests on. Uh, it's powerful what we do, and it's awesome that we have people like you and Logan that are part of this family. It's it's why Rooster and I keep working at the charity type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, why we want to have these events, the Catawba Valley Angel Rally here in 10 days, right? Whenever it is, 12 days. which I guess now's a good time to bring that up. The Catawba Valley Angel Rally happening in Conover, North Carolina, May 22nd. Go to the website and register if not, and meet Bill and Rooster and others in not public,
Logan.
Logan, duh, right? And really see how the family works firsthand. So hopefully there's some folks that are listening to this that aren't registered and that will register for the event, because that's kind of what it's all about.
Joe, you mentioned how through this journey we meet other people, and that this tornadic cycle of inspire, be inspired, and how that together we shall move forward as a community and family built on love. And you've met some people, Bill, in this journey, and like, I don't know, how'd you meet Tony? And shoot, recent guest, the Warners. The Warners are coming to this race coming up in a few weeks, and that's the essence. That's the community, right, Bill?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I was really enthralled when the Warners were on the show there, and it's a long story. I'll try to keep it short, but actually, when we qualified at the Myrtle Beach Marathon in 2019 to run Boston, Shelly and Mike helped us get the chair that we used to qualify. So we contacted them, but they weren't even able to be there that day. They had a family emergency. So we'd never actually physically met each other, but they had somebody else that helped us get the chair that day, and we were able to qualify for the Boston Marathon. And then I found out that the Warners are going to be at the Catawba Valley Angel Rally here. So, I reached out to them and I said, well, if you guys want to stay at our house, you're more than welcome to stay there. Now, what world would that, normally take place? They've never met me, how weird I am, and what kind of creep guy I could be and staying in my house. But them feeling comfortable enough to come and just spend the night with us, and how, I mean, that's just such an example of just what you guys were talking about, how we reach out to other people. And Tony Mullen is our local ambassador for Ainsley's Angels here, and he and I actually went to the same church together. And he said, well, I'm thinking about doing Ainsley's Angels. And he said, I saw your name on there. I said, well, actually, I got my name on there because I'd been with the Warners before that, but I actually got in with a different group that was first down in Charlotte, North Carolina, before there was another group. And so I met them, and then through them, I met actually Lauren Bruce, who was also on your show, who at that time wasn't an ambassador, but now is the ambassador for the Triad group. So I know Lauren, and so, it's just, I've just gotten to meet so many amazing people that are just, and if you meet, Lauren, she's just a ball of energy. And I remember she had her music cranked up the day that we ran, and she's blasting out, and she doesn't care who's around her. You don't want to listen to the music, go run ahead or go behind, and just such an energetic magnet that just is, just a great personality. And so, you just meet all these different people that have these different connections, and they're all different. I mean, I can see how I get involved because I have a child that is special needs, but a lot of these people don't have people that are special needs they're really, related to, but they just have great hearts. They want to do something else for somebody else. And that's even more amazing than I think what I have to offer just out of being a loving dad. They have really, that's a lot more sacrificial than what I do, is because, hey, they're trying to do other things for other people that aren't. And that, I mean, I just love that concept.
That concept is the be inspired concept. Like, you may not ever stop to take the time to think about it, but all of those folks that are in our community, our family of Ainsley's Angels, that are not connected to the exceptional needs space in any way, they're inspired by what we are doing together. And as a result of them being inspired by that, they then join, and watch this, Bill, they then join and then they inspire us. Right? I'm getting chills just thinking about this concept. And at its root, though, it is love for fellow man.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just beautiful. Just beautiful.
It's neat to see the number of people within like the ambassador family that don't have those ties, myself included, right? That met Ainsley, met Logan type of thing, and they're like, wow, that I can do more with my life, to help. And when we get new ambassadors that fall into that category, it's awesome. It's that tornadic. That's the word I was looking for 10 minutes ago.
There was a recent YouTube video and TED Talk that was done by a young lady who uses a wheelchair to get around, and the title of this thing was "My Disability is Not Your Inspiration." So I want to take some time, and I just want to make it clear that when we talk about this be inspired loop, or that the writer inspires us, it's not their disability that inspires us. It's not the fact that they have the equipment they use to live their life with. And it's not a matter of like feeling sorry for someone who's differently abled. It's a matter of their soul and their energy and the love that they portray. That is what inspires us. And you don't have to have a disability or be special needs or of an exceptional status to have that love. And I just want to make that clear. Sometimes it can be misunderstood.
No, yeah. Good call on that. And yeah, a lot of times it's as simple as that smile. I mean, going back to the run this morning, a couple of riders got out and ran across the finish line. One of which is Caroline, who I know you know, Rooster, right? Robertson. And I held her hand across the finish line, and we got done, and at the McDonald's tent, she asked me, if I can push her in the next race. And it's like, yeah, there's that inspiration. Yeah, absolutely I can. Would you like that Egg McMuffin as well? But yeah, so that's a good catch. It's absolutely not the disability by any means.
I think that's the other part of it, is that we, whatever human being, we want them to allow them to experience joy in whatever way that is, or to be maximalized in their life, whatever way that can be. And so that branches out to so many different ideas, and I could go off on a long tangent about that. But I mean, I just think that having somebody to fulfill their ability to just be a human being that experiences all that they can experience is just a phenomenal thing. And we do a small thing to try to allow those people to experience that. So it's just, I think we did the Boston Marathon, and it was just a phenomenal day. And I had my whole family that was there. I had my oldest son with his wife. I had my daughter. I had my wife. I had my mother-in-law. I had my sister-in-law. We were all there, and they were there along the course. But we have a lot of folks that we know through Facebook and through different venues that know about our story, and just how many people talked about being inspired by us, that I just wouldn't think about us being inspired by. And that day was so phenomenal. I had people yelling Logan. Logan had his chair, and instead of having a number that day on his bib, it had his name across there. And we had it on our Ainsley's Angels chair, and we're running down, and people are just screaming for Logan. And he was just, as opposed to just the last whatever half mile of a race, all along the way, Logan. And it was just crazy. And of course, we're grinding through those hills at Boston, and it's tough. But we're grinding it out, and we get through there, and then we're heading down the hills on the other side. After 21 miles, you go downhill for a while, and people are the crowds are getting larger, and they're just screaming. And Logan's got his arms flapping, and he's just loving the whole experience. But and we get down that last half mile, and I mean, it's just almost deafening. And whatever way can most of us, any of us, be able to experience something like that? But to see my special needs child and to know that he was able to experience that much joy, what greater thing is there for me? Not just because Bill has anything, Johncock has anything to do with that, but because on that day, Logan was going to experience. Logan's not going to, graduate from college. Logan isn't going to get married. Logan isn't going to have children. But Logan on that day was able to experience something that, so many people would never be able to experience. That is just phenomenal to do that. And once we crossed the finish line, one of the amazing things, we got across the finish line, and I've got tears in my eyes then, like I have them in them right now. And I get across the finish line, and I hear, Bill. And of course, nobody knows who Bill is except for my family. So I look over to the side, and I see my wife is over there on the side, and she's pushed herself through 6 rows of people to get up to the front of this little gate, that they kind of have the fence that prevents people from getting into the finish area. And I get Logan out of the chair, and he gets up, and he gives his mom a kiss on the side there. And actually, we were blessed enough to have a local news station that recorded that, and they showed a video of that. And I'm like, that's the whole family experience. Tomorrow, I know this might be done in a couple days, but Sunday, we're doing this on Saturday. Tomorrow's Mother's Day. Well, how phenomenal is that a mom and the son and the dad get to experience that type of thing. And so you guys, Ainsley's Angels, was a huge part of us being able to do that. We had our paint chair out there. And so anyway, I don't want to talk about tangents. That was a long one, but I just love, there's no way that my family could have experienced that without the input of Ainsley's Angels. And I could talk all day about other connections. Kim Stemple was there with us, and we had the rims with her face on there, and she was going up and down those streets with us, inspiring us. And Jim was there with us in spirit, because I know he loves our group, and Kim's husband, and it was just, where else could you experience something like that with any child, but nevertheless your special needs child? That is phenomenal.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you for your vulnerability, and thank you for the emotion in which you shared that story. There's a whole lot of stuff we could unpack on that. I will tell you that you mentioned Kim, episode 166. And Joe, we need to put this link probably in the description of Spotlight Saturday. Was an opportunity that I had to do the Cherry Blossom 10 miler with Kim Stemple, and it was her last race of her life. And I'm just gonna leave it there. Like, watch that episode and feel her joy. And Bill, for you to be able to then take Kim with you and Logan through the streets and into Boston. She's a Boston marathoner herself, and like to know that her spirit was so loud and you could feel her that day. I mean, that's it, man. That again, be inspired, man. Like, yeah, that's special. God, what else did I want to unpack on that? The Mother's Day angle and the love that the love that is a mom and her son. You know.
Yeah.
I'll flip it to Joe now because I can't talk.
Shout out to all the moms out there. But yeah, I think one of the best things about running, right, and pushing our riders is the name on the bib, the name on a flag or the wheel, and when those other runners take a second to say that, like, hey Logan, way to go. That's so awesome. I love that, especially on some of the bigger races like, Marine Corps, where we have to have a big flag or something like that where they can see it. And Louisiana Marathon, it's awesome to see other runners that are just out there running their own race, potentially no idea what Ainsley's Angels is, to take 1 second to change their pace, change their breathing, to say, way to go, Logan, maybe a fist bump. That's truly special. I'm a fan of that for sure.
Sense of belonging, Joe. I mean, that's it. Like, there's a difference between welcoming, accepting, and then getting that point where you feel like you belong. And Bill, you were speaking to the essence of that. Like, Logan knew when he turned on Boylston Street that he belonged there. And bro, like, that's it. That's like that's the pinnacle of humanism, is to feel that. And that's what you did for your son that day, and that's what you do every day by including him in your life and in your travels. And frankly, that's what each one of us does, and tries to live a life that makes sure others feel like they belong. Yeah, it's beautiful. We we just danced, and I loved it, Bill. Thank you. When I say let's dance, that was a dance, and what we're supposed to do is like take that dance and turn to the lightheartedness, the lightheartedness of the podcast. It's important to go down and feel all the feels, but then it's also important to bring some humor and laughter. And usually Joe is really the one that does that for us.
You're not running Marine Corps Marathon, are you guys?
We're going to be running Chicago, which is close at the same time. It's going to be October 9th that we're doing that. But our goal.
It's 3 weeks later. It's 3 weeks
Hey,
later.
no, Bill. You better come up with something better than that, bro. I'm sorry. I'm being that guy now. Like, what? That's so much recovery time, you phenom.
Says the guy that hasn't run in the last 2 days.
Oh!
Are we going to do this right now? Are we about to say, I will if you do? Oh. I'll let you make that decision, Bill Johncock.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But one of the cool things that we are trying to do, and it's still in the works, but I don't know. We would love in the future to be able to do what's called the World Marathon Majors, which is they have 6 races that are international races that kind of demonstrate the larger marathons in the world. So one of them is Boston, which obviously we just did together, and then we're doing Chicago, and then we're going to do New York. We'd like to do New York, not necessarily in this order, but also Berlin, London, and Tokyo. So I would like, if the good Lord allows these legs to continue working and do this, I would like, before I leave this earth with whatever time, to be able to do all 6 of those with Logan. And so I don't know whether it can or will happen, but I would love to be able to make that happen, and that would be so cool to be able to do that. So, and yes, I am trying to diverge a little bit away from the Marine Corps discussion. So if it seems like I was changing directions, it is. But yeah, we'll see about Marine Corps here. So
I'll take a we'll see for now, considering that you have your eyes set on the World Majors. There's a few people that have mentioned that to us over the years, and I don't think anyone's done it yet, running it that we know of. Now adding Logan to the mix, and if there's 2 people that can do it, you and Logan are are definitely the two people. So that's a very exciting goal for sure.
So just like when Sean and Seamus had this big dream, and Seamus wanted to run across the country, and I heard of that dream, I immediately poured all of the Ainsley's Angels effort into supporting that. And Bill, I'm telling you, as I told you a few weeks ago, we are pouring our Ainsley's Angels energy into supporting that effort, and stand by. Be careful what you ask for, because you may not realize it, but ASICS is a presenter of the Tokyo Marathon, and ASICS is a huge partner of Ainsley's Angels, as everybody listening has had to have seen the 4-minute video. And I'm going to reach out to ASICS, and I'm going to ask them straight up, like, hey, I got an Ainsley's Angels duo team that's ready to crush your race. And so better get those legs to keep them warm. Tokyo might happen a lot sooner than you thought.
Well, that would be phenomenal, and it'd be a dream for us to be able to do it, and I appreciate all you guys do it. I mean, like I say, and that's part of it. I think even just what we would love to see is that a lot of the bigger races, and that was talked about, a couple weeks ago. A lot of the bigger races don't allow duo teams, and so we would like to see that here in the U.S. more. And so it used to be it was just Boston, and now Chicago has taken that on recently, and New York City just within the last 4 to 5 years, I think, has done it as well. So it hasn't been the availability, and I'm not even sure whether it's available in some of the other areas internationally. So, but I'd love to see us more and more, if we can push the idea of inclusion more and more, even internationally. How great would that be? And so we would love to be part of that.
Shout out to the running world, the endurance world, for embracing the inclusion train. It's definite in the whatever it is 14 years that I've been a runner. I've seen growth in our community. Thankful for the partnership and that we have with the Marine Corps Marathon. I mean, you talk about Boston's, New York, Chicago allowing riders now, but they are in reduced quantities, where Marine Corps Marathon, we have 50 bibs, rider bibs. Like that's huge.
Yeah. There's a lot of reasons for big races like that not to want to do it. Okay, yeah, they could get in the way, or yeah, it's difficult, or we could do that. But that's sometimes that we have to push through those barriers, just like we have, in a lot of the discussions in the past episodes. Sometimes there are barriers that we have to continue to push to get through to allow that. Maybe it's just 10 at Boston, and that needs to be 20 or 30, or maybe it's at Marine Corps, now we have 50, and because of you guys' continued efforts to try to push that envelope, but also people seeing that, hey, it can be done, because it's easy to see, oh yeah, this could be a problem or that could be a problem, but can we make that happen? Can we help this to work its way through, rather than looking at the impossibilities? Let's look at the possibilities.
Yeah, and we're executing this thing safely, and we're demonstrating it, and it's a good time to point back to Dick and Rick Hoyt and say their motto was "Yes, you can," and that motto applies to what you can do as an individual, but it also applies to what they told other people. Like, the word "can't" wasn't in Dick and Rick's dictionary vocabulary. It was "yes, you can," and it was at Marine Corps that they qualified for Boston, and it was through that the Marine Corps Marathon set that the People's Marathon. They said, yeah, we're going to keep being invitive and inclusive, but they did, like you said, Bill, there were some boundaries and there are some safety limitations that have to be handled. So it's a two-way street. Like, we just can't converge on that thing with wheels on their course without having those discussions. And all the race directors, none of you that are listening, if somebody sent you a clip of this podcast and said, oh, they're bashing race directors that don't let wheels or have caps on wheels, we're not saying that. We're saying thank you for giving it a chance, and thank you for working with us to figure out the safe way for everybody to be included. And that's what we're doing. So go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, a prime example of that is the phone call to Craig Sweeney back in whatever year that was, right? And had that conversation, because yeah, it's the unknown and the fear of the unknown that some people have, whether it's allowing wheels on a race or as a runner pushing, right? So it goes back to the educate, advocate, celebrate, right? I mean, we have to educate everyone on the importance of inclusion and how we do things properly, and then everyone advocates and celebrates, and it's but yeah, I mean, Dick and Rick, I mean, first ones, to do um Iron Man's, right? Let alone Kona, for crying out loud. Uh, that one. I don't know which one of their, because they did multiple Konas, right? Um, 7, 6. I don't know why I can't count.
They tried it 6 times, and they successfully accomplished and crossed the finish line twice, which is a testament to the race of itself.
That
World
race is
class athletes. Yeah.
it's out of, I mean, a 2 point whatever 4 mile open ocean swim in the middle of the Pacific. That's bonkers to me to begin with. But that one of the times they did cross the finish line, there's the video of Rick like running, or Dick, running at blazing speed, and Rick's arms are going, crazy, and like I don't know what's going on. It looks like people are popping champagne. Like when, like I go run right now. Like when I see that video, that clip, it's and Rick's just like this. It's like, let's go. Like that is like motivation to the extreme. And it's like in like the 70s or the 80s, like, Dick's got these old like knee pads on and everything. It's old school. And that's just, yeah, the paving the way for, you know, the likes of us to keep this inclusion mission going. So shout
And
out
that's where
to
and
Dick.
that's where it happened. Marine Corps Marathon 2013. We worked together with the Boston Athletics Administration to apply, and I'm so grateful to be a big part of the application to get Dick and Rick into the Marine Corps Marathon Hall of Fame. And so we did that in 13, and we got them inducted. And then right before the race, Dick and Rick, I'll never forget it. Dick stood up before all of us. We're heading to the starting line, and he said, like, I'm not getting any younger, and neither is Rick. But today, I look at all of you, and we're symbolically passing the torch, and we want you all to go forth and to continue this. And I do it every day. Obviously, I'm honoring the legacy of my daughter, but I'm also honoring the grandfather and the great uncle of inclusion running. And that again, inspire, be inspired, and allow that cycle to happen and realize. So, man, yes, we almost danced again. There's a little bit of lightheartedness in there. I really expected nothing less when I knew Bill was coming onto the show. We are getting, I think, to the point where we need a wrap. And so how we do that is we ask, what's next?
My mom passed away about 3 months ago, and she had a battle with dementia and was in a nursing home. And anyway, we're doing a celebration of life ceremony for her this coming next weekend, next Saturday, a week from today. And so, that's weighing on me, bittersweet. I love my mom. She was an incredible influence for me, even though I talked about my dad, being a phenomenal influence in the running uh, side of life. My mom influenced so many things. I think as far as me having a love for other people, my mom inspired that, and she just would love people unconditionally. She was really great listener, and just one of those people that um, just influenced people's lives where you never would even really realize it. And so anyway, looking forward to going up and celebrating that, and having uh, all of my brothers will be there. There will be people, cousins, family members. So looking forward to that, and traveling up to Michigan to do that with my family. Um, and then coming back from that. So that's one of our big things for me and my family, just celebrating my mom. And I guess once again, thinking about tomorrow as being, Mother's Day. Um, just a way to um, celebrate somebody that just had truly amazing legacy, not just in raising 5 boys, but then ran a daycare for another 30 years after that. And we had cousins that lived with us. And I mean, just one of those quiet people that, you may have never heard of my mom before in your life, but just influenced so many people in so many different ways. And there's thousands of people like that. So that's what I have on my future, near future here anyway.
Yeah, Bill, thanks for that, man. Like, I too recently lost my mother. She had a little bit of Alzheimer's that was starting to show itself, but then the cancer got her in a really, really fast rate. And so last October, she passed away. So this is going to be, this is my first Mother's Day without her in the physical. But the thing you spoke about that connected with me was this element of the love that your mom showed you. And we talked about earlier, the power of love, and how 3 dudes having this conversation today on this podcast can all point back to love, and the love that we were shown by the very first person that gave us love in our lives. And so that's the power of the mother. And I too don't really know how I'm going to feel on Mother's Day, but one thing I will feel is her love and her presence in my heart. So I offer you that today, Bill, as you go through this next week of a lot of emotion, to leave her love on the forefront of everything that you feel coming up. So I'm happy for your family, and I hope that you all can feel her love every day as you celebrate her. Joe?
Yeah, that's too deep. Dives again. I'm blessed to still have my mother, and tomorrow I'll have the 3 moms in my life over to the house. So my mom, Leanne, and Jean, my mother-in-law. So I'm definitely going to take an added second tomorrow to give them an extra hug and return the love that they pour out on a daily basis, for sure.
I love that, and I see Bill is on the move. For those of you that are listening, I think he's going to go try to get a special guest or something. We'll see. But while Bill's doing that, the next piece of this is like, what's your weekly word? I think every one of our weekly word is probably love.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go with love for all the reasons previously stated. Joe, you seem to concur. Where are you at? What is your weekly word, Bill?
Legacy. I've been thinking about that, and just what a fantastic legacy that I've had to have the mom and the father that I've had, and how that in some small way I can have a legacy that goes on, and something that goes beyond our own life. And how important that is. We have the opportunity to do that, so we want to leave that legacy well. And so I need to constantly focus and know that this life is not just about Bill Johncock, but it's about Logan Johncock. This is Logan. Say hi, Logan. Yay! He's happy to see you guys. But Logan and my other children, but other people that are impacted by us. So anyway, I just legacy was what I've been thinking about, especially with having my mom's memorial coming up here. So.
Yeah, it's great to see you, Logan. And of course, it's a podcast, so most of the time people they're going to be listening to this. But for those of you listening, you can hear Logan communicating with a clap.
Can you wave hi? Can you wave hi? Say hi. Yay!
Yeah, that's awesome, man. He's putting his wrists together. He's overly joyful. Frankly, you don't need to see what Logan's doing right now. I hope you can just feel that he's right here in the middle of this conversation, and the way that Bill looks at Logan is that look that all of us fathers put upon our children, and all of our mothers do as well. So, wow, Bill, as we wrap out the episode, what do you want to leave us with, man?
Well, I just leave you with, hey, think about ways that you can impact other people. And, life is not just about us, but it is about those that we can reach out and try to touch and think about that legacy that you're leaving. And that's guess what I would leave everybody with. So.
You know what? I got enough.
He's in charge.
We're done. This was good.
Yeah, we're done here. The structure of this building has reached its capacity.
Find your people, and if they make you feel sexy, even better.
To all our listeners, don't forget at the end of October, Ainsley's Angels is an official charity partner of the Marine Corps Marathon. So if you would like to ride or roll, email Joe at ainsleysangels.org.